Hi guys, I'm Alysha and I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner and I own my own private practice and I teach other psych NPs how to find freedom and balance by starting their own private practices as well. So today we are going to talk about the common roadblocks that I hear that hold people back from starting their own private practices. Three major things, and that is I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, and I don't have enough confidence. And so let's break these three things down. On my Instagram account, I broke them down in mini snippets, but if you want to hear even more about it, I'm going to cover it in an even longer form today. And if you're not following me on Instagram and TikTok, I'd love to have you there as well. My handle is at rooted PMHNP mentorship. So we are going to start with the heavy hitter here, and we're going to talk about money. Money is oh so important in our world, and so this is a huge one. So let's hit this one first. You may have heard before, it takes money to make money, and to an extent that is true. However, when I teach in an NP program, and I have had students tell me that they have had their other instructors tell them that it takes $100,000 to start a private practice, and this is just not true. Maybe if you're starting a primary care office and you need tons of equipment, or, for psych, most of our work can be done online. We don't need a big office. We don't need fancy equipment to do our job. And so it is very good that our overhead is much lower and our startup costs are much lower, but we have the potential to make great money. And so I want to squash that myth that it takes $100,000 to start a private practice. I'm going to tell you straight out in a little bit how much it took for me to start my own practice. But I first want to say that if you are in the thinking stages of starting a private practice, you are going to want to make a solid savings plan and start putting money away for that private practice startup, because you're going to need to invest likely some of your own money into your startup, or you have to be okay with, say, opening a credit card with 0 APR for 12 months, or get a business loan or something like that. But regardless, you're going to take a personal financial hit when you are starting your practice. And so I want to encourage you to start making a solid savings plan. In my private practice course, I have partnered with a financial advisor that works specifically with psych NPs and specifically with psych NPs starting up their private practice. So I want to give him a huge shout out. He's a financial advisor. If you feel like you need to look at your whole finances, your past 401k from your other jobs, or, whatever, he just covers, he's so detailed. I have worked with him personally on my personal finances, and that's how I know he does good work. And I recommend him to anyone in my course or in my network. So his name is Gus. On Instagram, he is at Money on the Mind FP. And so I would highly recommend that you check him out if you're looking for that. But I do recommend a solid savings plan and a solid financial advisor if you need some support to do that. This is the part where I'm going to tell you how much it took for my startup, because that's what everybody wants to know. Give me hard numbers, Alysha. So I spent $10,000 on my private practice startup. Some people go, oh my gosh, and some people go, that's it? I don't know. It is what it is. And I am in an expensive state, and I paid good money for good legal advice. So that's where half of that 10K went to, was legal advice, honestly. And then malpractice and my office rental and blah, 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 blah. So that's what it took for me. That was the startup costs. And then my ongoing cost is about $2,000 per month. And that's my overhead. So that's why when you start a practice, you're going to want to see patients as soon as possible to start to try to recoup those costs and pay for that overhead, that ongoing monthly cost. I run a full mentorship program for psych NPs wanting to start their own private practices. And within that program, oh, and by the way, if you're interested in it, there's going to be links down below under this video. I would encourage you to apply if you're looking for a mentor and a step-by-step guide on practice starting. But within that program, I have checklists. I have all of my startup expenses, all of my ongoing expenses, so you know what you should be spending your money on and what's important, both on a startup case, in the case of startups, and month-to-month expenses. Also, with the financial advisor that I mentioned earlier in this video, Gus, he and I have partnered together to create Excel sheets where you can project your income based on your cash rates or your insurance rates, or whatever you're getting per patient, and whatever amount of patient visits you think you're going to be doing per month. You can project your income. When are you going to break even? When are you going to recoup those startup costs? When are you going to start making money? How much money are you going to make? So within my program, I have Excel sheets that will help you project all of these things, because that is a huge question. We all need money to live. And so if you're interested in all of that, I'm happy to help you. Check out the link below. Some people apply to my mentorship program and they tell me they are working 40 to 60 hours a week. And this is way too common in our industry, that people are just like charting on weekends, whatever. That's a whole other video. But I wouldn't have time either. Honestly, I would not have time if I worked a 40 to 60 hour work week to start a private practice. I don't blame you. I have, so that I just think that's not possible. I think you gotta change some things up, and we're gonna talk about that in this video. If you are working a 40-hour work week, it is hard, but it can be done. Some really determined members of my mentorship program have worked on their private practice just on weekends, which, if you're doing the math, you're working 7 days a week. That's a lot, but it won't be forever. And their private practice startup took about 6 months, 6 to 8 months. And so that's a long time. It's on the longer side to getting your practice launched. Because, you're working on all the startup things, website, Psychology Today, blah, 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 blah. So I think 40 hours is not optimal either. I personally think that you should be working more of a part-time situation, and then your other part-time job is building your practice. I think that what's best is working on your private practice about 16 to 20 hours a week. That is what's going to get you to start up your business in about 3 to 6 months, closer to the 3 month, honestly. And so I think that working on your business 16 to 20 hours a week, and then working your other jobs 16 to 20 hours a week, I think is optimal. And so if you're working 40 hours a week, you're starting to do this calculation in this video. You're like, wait a minute, Alysha, you're asking me to work less and spend a bunch of money. Yes, I am asking that. That's the business startup thing. I mean, like, to an extent, it's hard and it is what it is, but there's ways that it can be made better. And I'll tell you a little part of my story on how it can be made better. So I worked consult liaison psychiatry at a hospital, and I was underpaid. I actually took the job because I felt like it was going to be a great experience, and it was, but it was the same that I was making as an RN. And I know a lot of NPs, unfortunately, are in this situation where we're making as much as we did when we were nurses, which is not okay, by the way, but it's out there. So what I did when I was deciding to start my private practice and figuring out if it was really for me, I quit that job and I took a part-time job where I was appropriately compensated. And so I was making more money at a part-time job. I did still take a bit of a pay cut, honestly, because I was working 40 hours a week and it went down to 16 to 24 hours a week. Even though those hours I was making more money, it was still a bit of a pay cut, but it wasn't insane. And so I would encourage you, if you're cutting hours, find a way to make a little more money. If you can, do that. I would encourage you to ask for a raise if you're due for one, or if it's appropriate. Consider quitting your job if you're underpaid and moving to a part-time job where you're paid better, like I did. Something in that realm, or just take some time and save some money where you can invest money in your business and cut your hours. This could be a year-long process where you're saving money, gearing up, finding a new job, then starting your private practice. But seriously, it is so worth it. Honestly, my transition took about maybe 7 months to longer, 7-8 months, just to really like get it all set. I didn't have a mentorship program at that time. So it might be shorter if you have some guidance, but regardless. So let's move on to the final roadblock. And I love this one. It feels crappy. Not gonna lie. It probably feels, I know it feels crappy actually, because I've been there, but feeling like I don't have enough confidence. So it feels horrible, but I love talking about this because I think it is so valuable to our profession to, encourage people to follow their dream, do the type of work that they want to do, and feel confident and happy doing it. Because what we do is really, really, really important in the world. Where we're going to start here is, first, I'm going to remind you, you went through school, you got your license, you got board certified. The state has certified that you know what you're doing. So let's start there. You're not a fraud. If you got through all that, the state has deemed you are safe enough for entry-level practice at the minimum. Most of you watching this video are probably beyond that. But the state says you can do it. Then you're probably working a job right now, or have had some job offers or whatever. And so you have had employers that say you can do your job. And so I want to encourage you that if you don't feeling like you don't have enough confidence, it's you that needs convincing. So you are responsible to work on that. Nobody telling you how great you are is going to even penetrate until you believe in yourself. And so this is some internal work that you have to do. We work in mental health. We know how to do internal work, or we know the resources to seek out that can help us do internal work. So I encourage you to do that. So we're going to start there. And I want to tell you, if you can do your job for an employer, you can do your job for yourself. Okay? I'm going to say that again. If you have done this job and you can do this job for an employer, you can do it as a self-employed person. You know how to take care of patients. Point blank, period. Okay? So I want to encourage you in that way as well. With that said, you can do it for yourself. The skill set to be learned is learning how to be a business owner. And there's no one perfect way to be a business owner. You're going to make mistakes. I have made mistakes. I will still make mistakes. But sometimes they're not even mistakes. I mean, like, they're learning opportunities, to be honest with you. You're learning how to do business better. And so I just want to say that you can learn the business skill set. You've learned the clinical skill set. Now it's time to learn the business skill set if this is the direction you want. I'm going to guess it is because you've got this far in this video already. So this final point that I'm going to leave you with is that I think that entrepreneurship is an exercise in self-belief, and you're going to develop that self-confidence through entrepreneurship itself. Because you are being asked as an entrepreneur to invest time in yourself, you're asked to invest money in yourself, and you're asked to believe in yourself. I really think that entrepreneurship is a path to working out some of our, negative self-beliefs, or, it's a path where you can choose to do more for yourself, truly. And when you feel like, oh, I can't do it, I'm failing, entrepreneurship asks you to switch gears, do something different. And so I think it truly makes people just better at what they do because they're doing it for themselves. And so they want to do a really good job, and it's their vision. And so I want to encourage you, if you are in that space, to think about it that way. So these are the 3 roadblocks. I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough confidence. I hope that these little tips were helpful for you. I work on this all the time in my mentorship program with my mentees. These are huge. There is a video, there's recorded videos on step by step on how to start a private practice, and then we have live calls where we work through some kinks like this and more. The membership is lifetime, so I will work with you as long as I run this program, which I expect to be a very long time. I will work with you on how to figure out those challenges. Everyone's different, but these are the 3 most common in the first startup phase. So I hope that this was helpful. I would be happy to see you in the next video, and I would be happy to have you if you would like to join my mentorship program. I encourage you to apply. Link is down below, and otherwise I'll see you in the next video.